Welcome to your September 2021 horoscope. My name is Cailin, and today I'm going to be covering all of the major transits using tropical astrology and the whole sign system. I strongly recommend that you watch your horoscope for your ascendant sign first and foremost, because it will be the most overall accurate for you. The sun sign horoscope will pertain more to your career and your life goals, whereas your moon sign horoscope will tell you more about your family life and your current living circumstances. If you have time to watch all three horoscopes, I recommend that you do so because it will give you a very well-rounded and blended picture of what you can expect for the month ahead. And now let's dive into the horoscopes. Hi Capricorn Sun, Moon and Risings, welcome to your September 2021 horoscope. On the 3rd of September, Mars in Virgo in your 9th house will be opposed by Neptune in Pisces in your 3rd house. This can lead you to feeling extremely frustrated by your inability to plan for the future. The 9th house represents seeing the bigger picture, and Mars rules over your 11th house, which represents your long-term goals and aspirations. This opposition between Mars and Neptune may see you feeling extremely frustrated about not being able to plan things like your wedding, travel, and also you may not be able to pursue your education in the way that you would have wanted. On a different level, the 9th house rules over your relationship with your father, and it represents his life as well. The 3rd house rules over your siblings and your extended relatives. So there may be some discord between your father and your siblings, or you may even be disagreeing about how your father treats your siblings, or there just may be some discord between those relationships as a whole. Now on the 5th of September, Mercury in Libra in your 10th house will trine Saturn in Aquarius in your 2nd house. Mercury indicates some form of communication or correspondence coming in with regard to your work. The 10th house rules over your career and your public self. And Mercury rules over your 6th house, which represents your day-to-day work, and it also represents a contract being offered to you. Because Saturn is your ruling planet, this contract that comes in may be to offer you a more stable form of income, or it could be a jump from a casual contract to a more permanent contract. On a different note, this conversation that you have either with a boss or someone in a position of authority at your workplace could just be something which actually boosts your feelings of self-worth and your self-confidence. Now, on a different level, of course, not all of you are going to be in the workforce at this time, so this could indicate that something that you wrote, whether this is a communications piece or maybe you started a blog, whatever it is in terms of communications, this could be circulated. And that is because Mercury rules your 9th house, which is connected to publishing. And this in turn could boost your feelings of self-confidence. Now on the 6th of September, Venus in Libra in your 10th house will trine Jupiter in Aquarius in your 2nd house. Venus naturally rules over Libra, which means it rules your 10th house. The 10th house, once again, is connected to your public reputation and your public persona. Venus also rules your 5th house, which rules over your creative expression and anything that you create. It also rules over giving a performance. So this particular transit can see your popularity in the public eye increasing. With this trine from Venus to Jupiter in your 2nd house, you may experience a huge boost in self-confidence as a result. Now, on a different level, Jupiter rules over your 3rd house, which represents your relationships with colleagues, friendships, siblings, and your relatives. So you could see a big improvement in these relationships. Now, on a different note, you may actually see a big increase in your finances as a result of something that you achieve with your career. Once again, Venus rules over your 10th house of career. So whether you own your own business or maybe you work for someone else, whatever the case is, you may see a big increase in your finances as a result of some kind of milestone that you achieve. Now, on the 7th of September, there will be a new moon in Virgo in your 9th house. New moons indicate some kind of new chapter starting in our lives. The ninth house rules over education, travel, and it also rules over your world beliefs. Now, this could be your religious beliefs or your spiritual beliefs. In any case, this new chapter starting in your life could see you actually becoming more spiritual, or perhaps you become quite religious over this period of time. Now, with this new moon in your ninth house, this could indicate that you have a new education course starting, or perhaps you are deciding to become a teacher. If you are already involved in some kind of education program, you may see a new teacher or professor joining the ranks. Now, this new moon in Virgo will actually be opposing Neptune in Pisces in your third house. So this is a big indicator that you will take on a more spiritual way of seeing the world. Once again, the third house represents your mentality, and the ninth house rules over your belief systems. So with Neptune in your third house, you may actually be sacrificing an old way of seeing things and embracing a more spiritual or religious viewpoint going forwards. Now, the ninth house also rules over travel, so there may be an opportunity for you to travel abroad. This new moon in Virgo will actually be trining Pluto in Capricorn in your first house. So whether you are traveling, starting a new course, welcoming a new teacher on board, or going on a spiritual or religious journey, whatever you are doing, this is likely to have a profoundly transformative impact on you as a person. This new moon in Virgo will also be trining Uranus in Taurus in your fifth house. The fifth house rules over your romantic life and your children. So this new way of seeing the world, or this new education course that you embark on, could see you having a totally changed way of viewing your relationship with your significant other. Or you may have a changed attitude about whether or not you want to have children, or about how you raise your children. And then on the 15th of September, Mars will transit the sign of Libra, which means it will be transiting your 10th house of career. Wherever Mars goes, this is where we put a lot of energy and focus. So with Mars in your 10th house, you will be laser focused on your career. You may be chasing some kind of promotion, or you actually may be offered some more responsibilities in the workplace. With Mars in your 10th house, you may have an extremely heavy workload over the next 7 or so weeks. Now, on the 21st of September, there will be a full moon in Pisces in your third house, and it will be conjunct Neptune. This particular full moon will actually be sextiling Pluto in Capricorn in your first house. This full moon will have a very beneficial and healing impact on you, and that's because of this conjunction to Neptune. So this is all about letting go of past grievances with siblings or extended relatives. The third house also rules over friends, colleagues, teammates, and schoolmates. So if you've been experiencing issues within these relationships, this is a very positive opportunity for you to actually heal these relationships and wipe those slates clean. Now, once again, the third house rules over your mentality. So if you have been battling some kind of obsessive thoughts or even anxiety on a day-to-day basis, this is actually an opportunity for you to go through some kind of healing process which transforms you. The reason I'm talking about a transformation taking place is because of this sextile to Pluto in your first house. Pluto represents transformational energy, and it also represents letting go of toxicity. So if you've been experiencing toxic thoughts or even toxic relationships with other people, even if you're not healing these relationships, there is an opportunity for you to let go of these relationships with ease. Now, on a different note, full moons indicate the close of a chapter. And so some of you may actually be finishing some kind of education course. You could be completing an apprenticeship. The third house rules over qualifications, so you may be receiving some kind of license to operate machinery or a vehicle. Now, lastly, with this full moon in your third house, you may actually decide to sell your business and start the next chapter of your life. And if you are deciding to do that, this full moon in Pisces being conjunct Neptune indicates that you can do this with ease. Now, on the 23rd of September, Venus in Scorpio in your 11th house will oppose Uranus in Taurus in your 5th house. The 5th house represents your children, and it also rules over people that you are dating. So, unfortunately, with this transit, you may experience some kind of disagreement with your children. Now, this could be about who you are actually dating if you are no longer together with their biological parent. So this could be you arguing with your child about their step parent, or about someone that you're currently dating, like I said. Now, on a different note, you may actually be arguing with the person that you're dating about your children. Maybe they are not getting along with them. Or on a different note, you could be arguing with your significant other about your traditional family values. The reason I mention this is because Uranus actually rules over your 2nd house, and the 2nd house represents your family traditions. So your significant other may be saying that it's time for you to cut ties with some kind of tradition that you have been adhering to. On a different note, and on a more dramatic note, you may actually decide to end your relationship with the person that you're dating. And that's because Uranus represents divorce in some senses. So whether you are married to this person or maybe you're just abruptly cutting ties, in any case, Uranus represents doing something very abruptly and suddenly, which is quite unpredictable. Now, on a different note, you may decide to walk away from a business that you created, and that's because Venus rules over your 5th house. The 5th house represents everything that we create. So if you had a business that you were very involved in, or that you had very far-reaching and lofty ideals for, you may decide to let go of this business, like I said, and this does actually support the full moon in Pisces, which we saw just a couple days before. Now, lastly, with this particular transit, you may be required to take a very big risk or gamble, and that's because the 5th house represents taking a risk, and Uranus here shows something coming up very unexpectedly. Because Uranus rules over your 2nd house of finances, you may actually have to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to the survival of your business that you created. Now, on a different note, you may just be taking a very big risk or gamble when it comes to your partner. Maybe you are supporting their work prospects, or you could even be supporting the work of your child or of your children. Now, on the 27th of September, Mercury will station retrograde in your 10th house. Mercury rules over your 9th house, which represents your world beliefs, as well as your spiritual and religious beliefs. And it also rules over your 6th house, which represents your day-to-day work, and it also represents your health. So whenever we see Mercury stationing retrograde in one of our houses, we start reevaluating and rethinking whichever house it's transiting. Because it's transiting your 10th house of career, you will be rethinking whether your career is worth it anymore. Maybe it's no longer in alignment with your spiritual beliefs or with your religious beliefs. Maybe it's having a negative impact on your health, as represented by Mercury ruling over your 6th house. Maybe you don't like the day-to-day work responsibilities that you are currently having to carry out. With Mercury ruling over your 9th house of travel and your vision for the future, maybe you no longer see yourself staying at this company anymore. And it doesn't have to be a company. You could very well be working for yourself. Maybe your current career is not allowing you international travel opportunities, and this could be extremely important to you. On a different note, you may decide to leave the workforce altogether to pursue a spiritual life, to pursue a religious life, Or you could actually be going back to study. You may decide that you want to educate yourself further and that your current career commitments would not allow you the time that you would need to pursue this. Now, on a more basic level, you may just be changing jobs altogether. You could be changing departments. You could be offered a promotion. You could decide to take a demotion so that you have more time to pursue other hobbies and interests. And of course, you may decide to simply resign because you no longer want to be in the workforce, or you could decide to take the plunge and work for yourself. And so Capricorn, that's all I have for you for September 2021. If you enjoyed this horoscope, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content on this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Enjoy your month ahead and take care.